everybody. Welcome to Hidden Heroes. My name is Ariel. Today's guest is Marilyn Redmond. Thank you, Marilyn. Will you tell us where you're calling in from and a little bit about yourself?
Oh, well, my name is Marilyn Redmond. I'm calling in. I live just south of Seattle, Washington, just south of the airport, in a little town called Edgewood. It's a wonderful community. I've always lived in Washington State, went to college at University of Western Washington. So this is my home area. I was raised actually in Seattle and grew up there, and it was really fun to live by Green Lake and be able to go swimming all the time as a kid. It was great. And as I went to college and got myself into a domestic violent marriage, because that's what I was raised in. And I know that you do work with suicide people, and because of the trauma, drama, and incest I've been through, I know that I created Death Wish. I know that you just talked to the fellow about addictions, and I know for me the basis of my 9 addictions was wanting to die. Addiction is a death wish. You're looking for answers in all the wrong places. So that's what I found out. That's how my book really is coming to be, is because in doing meditation, I learned through 12-step programs to do meditation, and you look within and find answers, and you get rid of the negative energy and the negative affirmations and so forth you've been raised with, that you're not good enough, you're don't spoil Marilyn, all that kind. And I was treated like Cinderella when my mother remarried. And so when you go through a lot of abuse and drama in your childhood, you're always looking for some love and not finding it. And so my life has been full of all kinds of abuse and trauma, looking to try to find answers, and I've done a lot of reading, but the biggest answers have come through meditation and finding out where my suicide came from. And that's what the basis of this book is about, is to reduce the influence of the ego, which gives us those messages.
Gotcha.
So,
Awesome.
So what I do today is I'm a counselor writer, international counselor writer, consultant, and speaker about reducing that influence so we can have the love in our lives that is our true inheritance, and we don't have to listen to those voices anymore. I do regression therapy with counseling, helping people to remove those energies and replace it with the true love of who they are. And I also do past life regressions, because I know that our subconscious is like a big iceberg, and what you don't see is often what's running your show. So you have to get into the subconscious and deal with the origin of where did these messages come from. And I help people do that with childhood regression and, of course, past life, where you have other messages that maybe you're totally unfamiliar with. And we heal those in love. And go ahead.
Before you proceed any further, will you tell us the name of your book?
I'm sorry. The name of my book is The Real Meaning of 2012, A New Paradigm to Bring Heaven to Earth. And because I lived in hell, I was always looking for, what is heaven about, and would like to have been there. And when I tried suicide, I said to God, I says, whatever you have for me is better than what's going on at my house. I really didn't want to die, but I discovered I was emotionally 3 years old with no answers, no living skills, and scared spitless, felt helpless, hopeless, and totally in the corner with no place to go. And I literally had a spiritual experience, is why I'm sitting in this chair today.
That's awesome. What's your advice to give to those who are just beginning this transformation, or they've come to the place where nothing's working, we understand that, and they want change? A lot of times we hear, but it's too hard.
Well, I think one of the things I heard very early in my recovery is to not give up on yourself. I did not ever hear anything supportive, helpful, that was conducive to being there for me, and as far as a living human worthwhile being. And when I heard not to give up on myself, for some reason, that was very foreign. All I had was hopelessness and helplessness at that time, and had no clue that you were not supposed to give up on yourself. And it took a while for it to get, there's layers and layers of, you know, energy that stops our hearing the various things we're supposed to hear, and I just kept saying, it said you're not supposed to give up on yourself, so I kept repeating that to myself until finally, gradually, I started to just realize that I could keep going and I'll be okay. And things started to fall into place. And I know today that as we keep our focus on loving solutions, the terrible past will dissipate. And in my growing up, everything was terrible, horrible, and awful, and so there weren't any loving solutions. Even though I'd gone to church, I was told what happens at church stays at church, and what happens at home stays at home. And so there was no talk, no trust, and no feelings. And when I got to treatment for codependency, in those days was very codependent, looking for someone to save me. I know today there's no one out there that's going to save me or give me peace. It's all inside. And so I found out that if I changed no talk, no trust, and no feelings, I started feeling good. I started trusting myself and trusting a higher power, which even though I'd gone to Sunday school, I didn't know how to do that, because if you can't trust your parents that you can see, how are you going to trust something invisible like love? You know, that was a foreign concept to me, to learn to do that. So no trust, no talk. My parents, there was no communication, because I was raised in a mentally ill family. My mother was paranoid schizophrenic, and my father was an alcoholic, and she remarried someone who was an alcoholic but also a sex addict and rageaholic. So all I knew was disaster and abuse. And so to start talking about that was a very scary thing, because you wouldn't like me if you knew what was going on at home. And I kept my mouth very shut, and I was the very good student to show that everything was just fine. And so having feelings, I'm just now coming into terrific feelings of peace on earth and bliss and ecstasy and love. It's taken a lot of years. I equate myself to a really good ice cube, and I'm finally melting. So I don't have to feel all that fear anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love it. You talk about looking within. I'm always talking about this. We could fill our lives with the house, with the car, with the boyfriends, girlfriends, you know, all these people thinking that they're going to love me and accept me and it's going to fix this. But it won't work. It just temporarily masks it. And ultimately, you've got to go inward. You've got to start with yourself. You've got to start practicing, I love me, you know.
I think you're exactly right, and I think you have a wonderful message. I love your show. I think that you're just doing a tremendous job. Years ago, I had a radio show on regular radio trying to carry the same message. So I just really support your work, and I know that the day that made the difference for me was the night my husband tried to kill me several times besides my trying suicide, and that night I knew I wouldn't go home alive. And so in my church, you didn't pray except out of the hymnal book. I instinctively just said, God, please help me. I really don't want to die. And that was a decision. I didn't know it then, but it was a decision to live. And I think that in suicide, I think that's the most important decision there is I truly do want to live.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it came without my knowledge or forethought. It just happened in my experience.
I love it. I want to talk just a brief minute about the channeling work that you do.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm a retired teacher, and I started teaching in the junior colleges, and had a student in there, and she says, do you do counseling? And I said yes, which I hadn't really done it other than through when I was teaching. And so she started coming, and I discovered that I'm getting answers inside. The silent voice was giving me guidance of what to tell her, the answers and the solutions that she needed to hear, and it wasn't me. And so I started paying attention to these voices. I was raised you weren't supposed to pay attention to that voice inside, and so that was a new experience for me. And I was helping her, and becoming very psychic through the meditation. That is a wonder. When you go within, you start connecting with things that you haven't connected with before. So the psychic ability started to be more and more prominent, and that's really connecting with third and fourth dimensions. And when you start channeling, you're actually channeling. My channels on YouTube are called Channeling from the Higher Realm. You're channeling fifth dimension, which is angels, archangels, masters. Jesus was an ascended master, and there's other ascended masters that have come to Earth, like Buddha, and that are familiar, but there's a lot that are unfamiliar too. And so you have guides and angels around you giving you all kinds of help if you are open and receptive to it. So at one point, I was going to classes, and I got help through my teacher mentored me into actually not just getting the messages, but to allow them to come through my voice. And so every month we have a channeling at my house, and those are posted on YouTube, and I'm going to be putting them in a book shortly too. The book my next book follows the real meaning of 2012 is now we can finally experience heaven on earth, which we couldn't before. The energy of love is now overwhelmed planet Earth from the darkness. We are overcoming the dark in a consciousness way. So it looks like you understand what I'm saying, and I don't want to get too deep into it on this program because I'm sure a lot of people will not be there yet. But as you understand my book more and more, that'll help you get there. So a lot of people have said, gee, I have to read this more than once to make sure I understand it even at a deeper level. My next book will be Paradigm Busters, Reveal the Real You. And that is literally the step-by-step process of moving your life out of the depression of suicide into that bliss and love of who you truly are, and owning it and living in that experience. So this book is kind of the precursor explaining the dynamics of it, that our ego's been running our lives, that we've been programmed and conditioned to live in fear, which keeps us separated from that loving force in our lives and manifesting in our lives. And so it explains the energy that it's all about vibrations, and it's all about energy. And as we change our consciousness into higher energy, we can connect with that loving energy. And I have several diagrams that are unique in my book that show that energy shift that can happen, and you can grow into it. Nobody goes to heaven. We grow into it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Marilyn, where can we connect with you? Where can we find your books or your YouTube channel?
Well, if you put in Marilyn Redmond for YouTube, my channeling will pop up. I have a lot of lectures, and I also have more interviews on YouTube besides, that if they're interested in answers for domestic violence or personal growth, spiritual growth, holistic health, I wear a lot of different hats. So I have a variety of things on YouTube. My books, my ebooks, and this book is now paperback, and it's on Amazon.com. And I also have a blog on marilynredmond.blogspot.com, which sells my books and also I do a lot of writing trying to promote the truth. And then my website is angelicasgifts.com, ANGELICASGIFTS.com. Angelica is one of my angels. I was fortunate enough to come to planet Earth with 6 angels to keep me alive through all the trauma, drama, and abuse, so that I'm still able now to understand the dynamics and understand how, for some reason, I've been gifted with an ability to take very complicated, what you might call physics information, if you went to a physics class, and put it into a simple message that people today can understand, and you don't have to have tons of college to go through all the understanding of the energies. Einstein understood it very well, but now we can bring it down into terms that are very simple for the average person to really benefit, and I've been able to do that.
That is awesome. I love it. Our show is coming to a blazing halt. This time has sped by. Is there a quote or affirmation that you want to share with us that you live your life by?
Well, yeah, I actually have several. The first one that I would really love is when the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out physically and mentally. And that's what I was looking, as you said, outside for answers. And so it's the inside, when that's straightened out, the rest of our lives come together. And Edgar Casey's quote is, "There are in truth no incurable conditions." That to me was absolutely phenomenal, because I have overcome 9 addictions, mental illness, arthritis, domestic violence, fibromyalgia, a multitude of various things that afflict everybody at one time or another. And so, and I've healed 9 addictions, which included codependency, which is people addiction rather than chemical addiction. I got addicted through prescription drugs, didn't know that that was the same thing as drinking alcohol. Science and medicine still don't really relate that they're the same chemical substance. They just have a different label, and one's liquid and one's a pill. But an addiction is, when you overcome your addictions, you're not looking outside anymore. You're finding, as you talk about, finding the love within. You're going within and getting the answers that really work for you.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. This has been an absolutely pleasure. Again, everyone listening to my name is Ariel with Hidden Heroes, and this is Marilyn Redmond. The name of her book, again, is The Real Meaning of 2012, A New Paradigm Bringing Heaven to Earth. And stay tuned, because she has her second one coming out, which is Paradigm Busters, Reveal the Real You. Marilyn, thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate being here. You're a joy to talk with, and I wish you a very big success in this program.
Thank you very much. Have a fantastic evening.
You have that too. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. This is Hidden Heroes. Have a great afternoon.